What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another stream. Hopefully everything's running well. I've got a bit of a new setup here, new microphone. So hopefully we are all good. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Kaspa today. And we're going to be discussing the rest of the market. It's been a little while since I did a live stream. So if you guys could just confirm in the chat if everything is running smoothly, that would be great. And we'll get straight into it. Oh, I was 2 minutes late. I'm sorry. 2 minutes late. I should publicly apologize for that. But yeah, guys, we're going to be doing a stream today where we talk about Kaspa. We're going to talk about some other altcoins as well. So if you guys could just let me know in the chat if we're running smoothly. Running good. Perfect. Okay, great. It's good. Perfect. So, it's been a little while since I did a live stream dedicated to Kaspa, but as you guys know, I still hold Kaspa and I am still bullish on it. Despite me, getting very frustrated the past few months about some of the performance of Kaspa and some of the things that have been going on, we're not here to talk about all of that today, right? But you guys know there's been some things that have frustrated me, the lack of tier ones, the Twitter page, stuff like that has just kind of been in the wrong direction in terms of the price appreciation of the project. And I understand a lot of people, they care about the tech more than I do. Obviously, the tech is important, but I care about making money in this game, and that's why I'm here. And we're going to talk about Kaspa because I think it will make people quite a lot of money. And you can see on my chart here, Kaspa has this kind of downward sloping resistance trend line, and we're so close to breaking above it. I mean, some people would argue we have broken above it, but for me, I like to count weekly closes as confirmation. And we haven't quite seen that yet. But you can see almost every time, apart from one time where we kind of had a fake out, almost every time we've come in contact with this, we have indeed rejected. And you can see one here. Okay, let me just clone this. Oh, wait, I cloned the wrong thing. You can see one here, right? Where that yellow circle is. You can see one here on this week. We rejected that. You can see we rejected here as well. And finally, we had another, let me get off this. We had another rejection here. And what's going on with this? We had another rejection here. There we go. So you can see, or arguably this isn't a rejection. This is trying to be a breakout. So you can see we have kind of hit this trend line multiple times on Kaspa. So it's a trend line. If you hit something more than 3 times and reject, it does become a trend line. And we are currently rejecting on it right now as we speak. We did get above it on a wick, but we have, subsequently come back down a little bit. So what I'm looking for is a confirmed weekly close above 11 cents. 11.2 to be completely precise. If we can get above 11.2 on the week, I would consider actually entering a trade on Kaspa. Now, I've got my long-term position anyway. I've got a decent amount of my portfolio in Kas. Not a huge amount, not anywhere near my Sui bag, just because I think Sui's performance has been better. But I do have a bag of Kaspa in my current crypto portfolio, and I would consider flipping macro bullish and maybe even entering a trade if we were to see a confirmed weekly close above that line. Now, when we talk about fundamentals of Kaspa, there are some things to pay some attention to, right? We have on August 31st, the smart contracts coming out, full smart contract functionality via the Kasplex layer 2. So that's going to be pretty big in terms of news for Kaspa, in terms of adoption. All the YouTubers will start talking about it again. That will bring on a kind of wave of hype. And what's been interesting is Kaspa has been trending lately. It's been one of the biggest gainers actually on the week for a change. You can see out of the top gainers in the top 100, Kaspa is up there. I mean, it's not the number one gainer, but it is up there. And I remember checking yesterday, Kaspa, I think, was the number 2 biggest gainer on the day. So it's certainly starting to pick up a little bit of momentum. It's got a cult community, right? We all know Kaspa. There's a cult community, and people will not stop buying it, essentially. They will keep on buying it because they believe it is the new Bitcoin. And whether or not that is the case doesn't matter. It's the fact that people believe it, and perception is reality in this market. So I am bullish on Kaspa, and I will be even more bullish if we can see a confirmed close above this resistance. Like I've said many times, on this next move, I am targeting 30 cents whenever we get this next breakout, because we've tried so many times now to have breakouts. People thought the Kraken listing was the breakout. It wasn't, right? Everyone thought Kraken was going to be the thing that brought us to 30 cents. It wasn't. And then we had the May pump. People thought that was going to be the breakout, only until we had another rejection. So maybe it is the smart contracts that actually breaks us out of this downward sloping resistance trend line. And that would be absolutely amazing. And we would see good price appreciation. Now, my next target on this move, like I've said, would be 30 cents. Depends how much longer we've got left of this bull run. If we could go up to 30, then come back down, maybe hit 20, I could see us potentially going for some of the higher fibs, like 45 cents, 60 cents, 70 cents. It just depends if time is actually on our side with this bull run. And that's the real question, is how much longer have we got left with this bull run? If we just do a quick Google search, days until November 1st, we've technically got 100 days until the 4-year cycle is invalidated, right? And until it's over. So can Kaspa do a 7x and go to 70 cents in 100 days? I mean, we've seen crazier things in crypto, but it is asking quite a lot at this point in time. So we'll just have to see. And look, some people believe we'll pump after November 2025 and we'll pump into 2026. I personally don't think that, but a lot of people do have that thesis. But anyway, we're going to take a look at some other coins as well. Get your questions in. I'm going to go through some of the questions in the stream. Hopefully the audio is all fixed, because we had some issues on the last stream. It's so annoying. When I'm trying to do a stream, I got loads of alpha, loads of things to say, and the mic just cuts out. It's literally the most annoying thing in the world. But please do smash the likes as you're tuning into the stream. Appreciate you all being here today. Smart contracts are huge for Kaspa. I do agree. Smart contracts is definitely a big plus. And if you guys want like some degen plays on Kaspa, there are a few decent ones. Kaspi is a decent little bet. It's actually up 40. Is that 45% today? Wow. Wow. Kaspi up 45% today. I've got a position in this. I just forget about it because it's such an insignificant amount of money I put into it. But Kaspi's pumping today. This is actually my favorite beta play on Kaspa. And I think once Kaspa officially breaks out, you will see a big wave towards the meme coins, especially as smart contracts comes out, because that gives people even more of a reason to try and look into some of the beta plays on Kaspa, right? So Kaspi is one I think is decent. There's another one which I think is also decent, Kango. You know, it's a decent one. It's not amazing. I prefer Kaspi, but Kango is also a bit of a decent one to have some okay listings. But yeah, let's take a look at what Bitcoin's doing. Bitcoin finding its support again on this trend line. And I've told you guys before, when you see previous resistance turn into support, you know you can be really bullish. It's a very, very good sign. So as long as we maintain this resistance, as long as we maintain this support of the trend line, the macro trend line on Bitcoin, which stems all the way back to 2017, as long as we keep using this, you know, as support, which we've done so already. And what's going on with this today? As long as we keep doing that, then I remain bullish, to be quite frank. And you can see on the daily, the stochastics massively dropping down. So we're going to have a bit of a reset RSI, which will give us a bit more momentum to push forward. So far, so good for Bitcoin. I'm really not concerned. Some people are saying it's looking like a bit of a rounding top. I'm not too worried about that. I personally think we are going to try and make another move up to the pocket that I've been talking about between 126 to 131. I think we are going to be going for this target at some point in the coming days and weeks. And the fact that we're using the trend line as support is incredibly bullish. I really cannot say that enough. Like, that is a very, very bullish sign. The fact that we're using the macro trend line that stems all the way back from 2017 as support now, we've done a resistance support flip. It's incredible. Makes me really, really bullish. Ethereum also losing a bit of its steam here, getting a bit overheated. And I did tell you guys in the VIP, actually, we had a VIP weekly close meeting on Sunday night. We always do that every single Sunday. Weekly close. I'm in pretty much all of them. And that takes place in the Discord. We have really great conversations regarding the weekly close and what to look for in the coming week. So I do recommend getting on that if you can afford it. I said on that close, the conversation there, that the RSI on Ethereum is basically the highest that it's been since like 4 years ago. So I was expecting a cool down. You can see, right, the RSI on the daily, it hasn't been this high since back in freaking 2021. So almost, basically 4.5 years. So we were definitely overheated. But what you could see back then, the RSI did get really high. It then cooled off a little bit, and the continuation of the rally happened. So I'm not too concerned about that. Maybe we come back down to 3.5K on ETH, and then we go up to 4K and surpass it. That's kind of what I hope. But again, this is kind of the thing I'm a bit cautious of, and I think we could even top out before November. I think there's a good chance we could top out in Q3, which is either July, August, September. So basically, the next few months, I think there's a good chance we could top out, especially if we start to see altcoins gain momentum again. Also, this is something to keep attention towards, the Bitcoin dominance chart. Finding a bit of support here, which isn't a good thing if you hold altcoins. Finding a bit of support at that golden pocket. And it's got really, really low RSIs. So there is a good chance here dominance starts to move up a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to go back to 66%. It might not go that high, but there is a good chance that it heats up a little bit, ticks up a little bit before it then continues to the downside. So we are getting some mixed things in the charts. Some things are looking good. Some things are looking like we're getting a bit overheated and we're kind of due a correction. But either way, always hold a bit of your portfolio in stables so that you can take advantage of any opportunities that come our way. And this weekly close on Kaspa is going to be very, very telling. If we can get above this resistance line, like I said, I will officially flip macro bullish on the Kaspa chart. I'm already bullish on the Kaspa project, obviously. But as we know, charts and projects are two different things. I really love Monero, but it's kind of not been the best performer in a very long period of time. So just because you like something doesn't always mean it's the very best investment. And we always stay level-headed on this channel. We don't get caught up in emotions, in maximalism, in anything like that. We look at things with a level head and we make calculated decisions. And quite often the decisions we make are, correct. So highly recommend you guys subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Check out the VIP as well. So you can see my real-time alerts and just gain even more information from me because I'm joining those voice chats every day. You can just absorb information and ask me any questions you have regarding your portfolio or your exit strategy or anything like that. And some people even just join for a month, right? Join for a month, get some help, get some guidance, and then, if they want, they can cancel. But that's very rare that people do cancel. So it's always up to you. But anyway, we'll get into some of the questions here, see what you guys are saying. Smash the likes, absolutely. How much do I expect for Kaspi? I assume you mean Kaspi. I'm pretty bullish on it, to be quite honest with you, man. Despite the chart not looking the best when you zoom out, like Kaspa hasn't been the best for the past year, so it kind of makes sense, the fact that it has been a bit of a lagger. But the listings are decent, nothing special, but they are decent listings, and the market cap's just so small. So I do like meme coins on some of these other chains that I'm bullish on. I like Kaspi on Kaspa, obviously, and I like some of the Say memes. So Milli is one on Say, just a 3 million market cap on Milli. I did take a little bit of profits on Milli. I just took my initial out, so technically wasn't even profits, but I took my initial out at a 2x. I quite often do that with meme coins just because you never know, right? With memes, it's always reasonable and smart to take your initial out after a 2 to 3x. I did the same on Cyan, done the same on Milli. I do it on basically all my meme coins just so that I make sure that I basically can't lose money. And that strategy has served me very well in the past, especially last bull run, right? Last bull run, I was pure degenning. Like, I've told the story many times. I was maybe 14. No, I was probably 16, 17 years old last bull run. And I'm 21 now, but last bull run, I was degenning crazy, right? And I would always take my initials out after a 2 to 3x. Sometimes the coin would go up another 50x. And yes, I diluted some of my gains, but the point is, you can't lose money when you take your initial out. It's always a good capital protection method. You know, you're preserving your capital. Another thing I saw was Solana starting to gain a bit of momentum, which is obviously a good thing for the degens out there. Solana gaining a bit of momentum, starting to pump up a little bit. And I'm actually pretty bullish on Solana. I think it's the best buy in the top 5. You know, Bitcoin, ETH, BNB, XRP, Sol. I think Sol's the best buy. Just starting to creep up. I am targeting $420 per coin on Solana. That is my target. And I think it's going to have a very explosive move towards 420 because it's such a psychological level, right? For the meme chain. Imagine the top being 420 for the meme chain. That would just be amazing. So yeah, Solana's looking good. But yeah, remaining very bullish on my core picks right now. We saw Ondo get a bit of a move up as well, which I was very happy to see. It's above $1 firmly now. And I told you guys, you know, Ondo's going to go above $1 at some point, and you better wish that you're stacking it down in the 60s and the 70s when I was, because if you were doing that, if you were following what I was saying on this channel, you're up in some nice profits on Ondo, and the thing's barely even left the station. So that was another call which was very accurate, telling you guys about Ondo down in the 60s. Hopefully you did pay some attention and you stacked some. Mumu the Bull's a decent buy today as well if you want a bit of a meme coin on Sol. Considering Solana's pumping, some of that money is going to flow into the memes, as it usually does. And another good meme is Troll. I actually gave a buy alert for this one in the VIP at 0.012. So we've basically 2x'd off that recent buy alert. Let me just show you guys for proof, because sometimes people don't believe how freaking good these buy alerts are. Just put a little buy alert there, 0.012, and we're already at 0.2. So basically did a 2x. In fact, I think we did do a 2x or 90% pump in a couple days. So if you want to basically double your money in a couple days, this is the place to be. What else? What else? Has anything else been happening? Let's see. Yeah, not a huge ton. I mean, we had the Genius Act, obviously. now we're kind of just waiting to see what's next. Bullish week, I agree. We had Jerome Powell speak today. I didn't listen to it, but if you guys did, let me know what happened. I think it was something to do with the big banks, so I don't think it was, much about interest rates. What would your last weekly DCAs be before the end? So I've personally already finished stacking all of my conviction plays. So I've finished with all those conviction plays you can see on the screen. Like I'm done stacking them. I've finished. I've completed it. And I'm very proud about that because I've got great entries on all of them. And I know that I've basically led all my VIP group to also have great entries on them. So we're going to look back and be very proud of the fact that we were stacking Arrow at 39 cents and Sui at 76 cents and Say at 15 cents and Virtuals. Our average is all the way down in the 50-cent region. So, we've got some great, amazing averages on all these coins. I'm up on every single one of them, including Morpho. I'm almost up 2x on that. So I'm in no rush to lower my average, to increase my averages. I'm in no rush to do that, and I'm not going to do that. So my current strategy going forward is to get into trades, like more short-term plays and meme coins. So going forward, I'm going to be prioritizing memes as my buys and also some more short-term trades. Like I said, if Kaspa breaks above this resistance that I'm targeting, if it breaks above that on the weekly, I might get into a Kaspa trade. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to use leverage. Maybe I use 2x. I'm not saying I will do that. I'm not a huge fan of leverage, to be quite honest with you. I prefer sometimes just putting more money in than using leverage. But my point is, that's kind of what I'm doing right now is more like trades where I basically set a stop loss and do a trade because all of my long-term bags are packed. And this is a key thing. Once you're happy with your portfolio, don't keep buying and buying and buying on the way up. You buy when things are low, you buy when things are cheap, and then you let everyone else pump your bags. And I've started to notice, right? I was buying Say down at 15 cents. I'm starting to notice now as we've surpassed 30 cents and we're getting to 40 and 50, I've started to notice a bunch of YouTubers start talking about Say, as they always do. Okay, I always get in early, they always get in late. And yeah, I'm just very happy with that. Not complaining whatsoever, right? Who complains when they get their bags pumped? I certainly don't. So I like to get in early on these plays and then let the other YouTubers do their business, then let the other retail normies and everyone else pump my bags and pump my group's bags and pump everyone who watches my channel's bags because then we will win. We get early entries. We're smart when we buy. We're patient. We wait for the dips. We wait for the blood. Then we get in. And then we let all the other pigs get in when there's greed, right? Because what happens to greedy pigs? They get slaughtered. And we reap the rewards. And that's the brutal reality of crypto. But, if you don't have any of these conviction plays and you've literally just entered the market and you weren't buying back when I was, it still doesn't hurt to buy some of them because I still think there's great gains to come. Just you're not going to make as much as myself. Yeah, you might make a 5x on some of these. I might make a 10 or a 15x. But you'll still make a 5x, which is still amazing. I'm scared there's too much leverage sitting at 105, almost 6 billion. Let me just move my camera up because it's super low. Don't know why it's so low. There we go. Yeah, I mean, 105 is a bit of a level, to be honest, with Bitcoin. But I think if we close below the trend line, we probably will see quite a sizable dump. That trend line is acting as very strong support right now. If we were to close below it, I would expect a move probably down to 109 to 102, somewhere around that range. And you giving 105 kind of confirms that. So yeah, I said to the guys on the weekly close video, not video, call, the weekly close call that we did in the Discord. I said, if we hold the trend line, we're very bullish. I expect continuation to the upside. If we close below the trend line, then I expect probably a move down to 109, which is the next major level. And this is the issue, guys. When you have like a parabolic move, it's great at the time. It's great in the moment when you're pumping, but the problem is there's no consolidation. So the floor comes right back down to where the consolidation is. When you have a big God candle like what we had the other week, this God candle, once you break below key support, you just come straight back down. So that's always the issue that these God candles create, is they make it so there's nothing stopping us coming straight back down to fill the liquidity to the downside. So that is something to be aware of. I think there's a chance. I mean, it's like 50-50, right? It's basically 50-50. Do we go up to here or do we go down to here? It's a difficult one, to be quite honest. I probably favor the continuation to the upside argument, just because of the fact that we've used the trend line as support a couple times now with a high degree of strength. %10 is stables. Yeah, that's reasonable. Join for a month, good idea. Exactly. Like, no one's compelled to join forever. You can just join for a month and you can always cancel. Like I said, no one ever cancels really, but if you want to, for whatever reason, financial issues or whatever, you can always cancel. It's a completely, it's a decision up to you. Hey, Archie, love your work, mate. VIP member since 2023. This is what I mean, right? People don't cancel. They stay for years. So shout out to you, Jatin. I know you entered Morpho around 1.18. What's your price prediction for this, bro? Looking to buy lifetime membership soon. Wow. Shout out to you, man. And if you are interested in lifetime, since you've been a member for so long, we could give you a little bit of a discount if you're interested. So drop us an email or whatever and just let us know how long you've been a member for. But yeah, Morpho, I'm super bullish on. Like you said, we got in at 1.18. And I'm sure you did too if you're in the VIP. And the reason I'm bullish on it is because it's partnered with Coinbase and it's basically, a clear winner in the DeFi sector and the borrowing and lending sector. So in terms of price predictions for it, I haven't really spoke about exact price targets because it is a fairly new coin and there's not a lot to go off. But I think there's a solid chance we could get a 5 to 10x on Morpho. Maybe not a 10x. Like a 10x from the buy alert, a 5x from here, I would say is probably the outcome. Yeah, it could 5 to 10x from here. But I think it could go to $10 per coin. I mean, what did Aave go to? What did Aave go to last bull run? Yeah, so Aave last bull run, right? When this sector wasn't necessarily backed by regulations, the president wasn't talking about it, all of that. Aave went to 12x higher than what Morpho's at right now. So Aave went to a $7.9 billion market cap last bull run. And what you got to bear in mind, there's now like a green light from a regulatory point of view for blockchain-based borrowing and lending and DeFi. It's now sound in a regulatory framework. So you could argue these coins will go way higher than what Aave went to last bull run. I'm not going to make that argument because I think it's kind of too simplistic. It's too obvious for a lot of people. I think it's probably going to be some sort of an upset, and a lot of the price targets that people give are going to be wrong. But a lot of people say, "Oh, look at Kaspa, right? Cardano went to 90 billion last bull run. Kaspa's easily going to go to 100 billion." It's just low level thinking. It's just low IQ thinking. I'm more logical than that. That's just like too basic. It's just too simple, too basic. You got to think a bit deeper. And the fact there's more coins now, right? And stuff like that. So I've waffled on a little bit there, but I think Morpho could for sure go to $10 as a minimum target for me. It could go even higher than that. The bull case would be this, right? $24 would be the ultra bullish case, but I just don't think it's going to happen. But that would be my ultra bullish case for Morpho. And yeah, we had a great meeting yesterday, actually, in the mentor tier. I did a full-on PowerPoint presentation. It was about a 2-hour meeting, and it's recorded, by the way. So if you miss the meeting, you'll be able to go and watch it, the presentation, and you can have access to the PowerPoint. But I did a full-on PowerPoint presentation on my updated, revised exit strategy, the exact levels I'm looking to sell at, and all the different indicators and charts I'm looking at. And I look at the pros and cons of each and basically just give you a full analysis and my thesis on how I plan to exit and where I think everything's going. So strongly recommend you go and join the mentor if you can afford it, because that presentation took me a long time and there's a lot of alpha in there. A lot of my secret strategies that I'm not going to expose to everyone, because if I do that, everyone will front run me and everyone will copy me and it will go viral and loads of people will start talking about it. So I sometimes want to keep some bits of information quite close to my chest. Don't want to go and tell everyone. Nacho over Kaspi? No, because Shy Dash left Kaspa, so it just doesn't make sense to have his cat. Plus the listings for Nacho are pretty poor. Kaspi, how's it going, man? Great to see you here. Yeah, take out initials on memes when you're up a few X's. Good time to be in crypto. Thank you for your continuous streams. My portfolio is still 10 to 15% down overall. I hope it's going to be great. Yeah, you'll be fine, man. Look, some people join crypto a little bit late. Their averages are a bit higher than me and other people, but we'll all win in the end. If you're buying around here, you're going to be great. You're going to be fine. Chainlink? Yeah, Chainlink will do fine. I'm more bullish on Sui than Chainlink. They're both around the same market cap. I just think Sui's the better play to have in your portfolio because it's a layer 1 and it's newer and it's fresher. So I prefer the newer coins usually, and they're both literally a 13 billion market cap. So if I was going to go with one, I would go with Sui over Chainlink. But Chainlink's fine. Marcus, I recommend you get on the mentor tier and you watch that PowerPoint I did, that presentation, because I go through all my favorite top indicators and I go through all the BS top indicators as well. And I talk about the pi cycle theory. I talk about the Powell law, loads of stuff, man. So I strongly recommend you go and watch those things if you're interested. It's high level stuff. Yeah, if Mumu just goes back to all-time highs, we're going to be so rich. And the crazy thing is, if I make another 10x on Mumu, I'll make 100x on this thing, this bull run, because I already made a 10x on Mumu prior. So if I go and make another 10x on Mumu, that will basically be 100x on that capital. on this investment. I bought Mumu all the way down here. I think it was. Or was it here? Anyway, I can't remember. But the point is, I bought Mumu really early, and I made over an 11x on it. Made a ton of money on Mumu. That was an absolute gem of a buy alert. VIPs made so much money off that. It was crazy. People were telling me they were making 6 figures off that buy alert. And we sold as well. That's the thing, right? A lot of these YouTubers, they drop buy alerts for things, but they don't freaking sell. So it's no good doing a buy alert, making a 10x, and then not actually taking profits on the 10x. I actually take profits. I actually drop sell alerts to the group so they can sell. Other groups just willy-nilly it, basically. Thanks, Archie. I have a little bit of dry powder. I have Say, Arrow, Millie, FCK, and I added 1,500 to Morpho last night. My portfolio is about 15K. I have $1,000 to spend. Any suggestions? I still think Ondo is a decent buy, even at $1. Like, I wouldn't be buying it there because I bought a lot lower, but it's still a great buy from a zooming out point of view. So I'd probably get some Ondo if you haven't got any. Ondo and Say prediction in a week. Very hard to get predictions in a week, bro. Let me just go and check my my crystal ball. Yeah, I'm still bullish on peak, but the chart's terrible. Powell didn't resign. Maybe it's good. Less uncertain stuff. Yeah, I saw some YouTubers saying Powell was going to resign. Like, man, there's so many YouTubers. They don't have a clue what they're doing. They said Powell was going to resign in his speech today. Like, people are so stupid, man. People are so dumb. And the thing is about these YouTubers, they're giving information to people. They're trying to teach people crypto. And yet they're telling people Powell was going to resign today in a speech towards the big banks. Are people freaking stupid? Why would... Okay, so just put yourself in Jerome Powell's shoes. You're going to do a speech to the big banks. Okay, you're doing a speech, and the purpose is to discuss the money system between the central banks, the big banks, and how they all interlink and all of that. You're going to do a speech to them. Everyone's turned up to listen to your thesis regarding the banking system. And then you go and resign at the speech, at the workshop or whatever it is. Like, that is so stupid. There's so many people on YouTube giving such terrible information. If you subscribe to anyone who says that Powell was going to resign today in that speech, unsubscribe to them now, block them, ban them, everything, because these people are just going to make you broke. They haven't got a clue what they're talking about. I'm quite educated on everything when it comes to crypto. I'm educated on the tech. I'm educated on the macroeconomy. I'm educated on the stock market. And I'm educated in the actual crypto cycles and the TA and all of that as well. Some people have YouTube channels. They don't understand the Fed. They don't understand the macro. They don't understand politics. I understand politics. I got an A star in politics in my A levels, and I could have gone to one of the best universities in the world to study politics. I understand it. I didn't study it because I wanted to make money, but I could have. These guys giving information out on YouTube about the Fed, about Jerome Powell, they haven't got a clue. Hey, Archie, just want to say thanks for the Say buy alert at the bottom. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Glad you're making money. That's what I do. I make people money. That's my job. What price range do you think Ondo can get to this alt season? I'm still targeting like $3 to $7 on Ondo. I did increase my price prediction a little bit on Ondo based off some of the recent news they had, some of the recent partnerships like Pantera Capital and the acquisitions they were doing and stuff like that. So I am more bullish on Ondo now than ever because of how big this tokenization narrative is getting with Robinhood tokenizing stocks now. Ondo is going to be a big competitor. it's an absolute steal. Even at $1, it's a great buy. And you know, I was buying it lower, but it's not a competition here. Even if you just discovered Ondo today, look, you're buying it down significantly from its all-time high. It's still, you know, a great opportunity. Guys, get your questions in and smash up the likes as well. It really helps out with the channel. If you appreciate the streams, hitting the likes does help a lot. Helps the channel grow and give people the ability to watch these streams and actually be educated in crypto and not be following some daft idiot who's telling you that Jerome Powell is going to resign today. What a load of nonsense. Do you think Sol ETH has bottomed? And do you think Sol outperforms ETH going forward? Great to see you in the stream, Mad Greek, one of the most active members in the Discord, bundle member as well. Shout out to Mad Greek. Let's take a look at Sol ETH. Let's take a look. I think Solana is going to pump compared to ETH, if that's what you're asking. I don't look at Sol ETH too often. Does it respect the levels much? Thing is, I don't know if people are even really charting this on a big enough scale to the point where it respects levels. Does anyone know, by the way, how you take... Is that what it is? Let's see. Yes, okay, I had this thing on in my trading view, keep drawing. So every single time I tried to do something, it would just do it again. That's so annoying. I'm glad it's off now. But the thing is, some of these charts, they don't respect the levels that well because not everyone's looking at them. So it's kind of hard to chart some of these things, but from a non-TA perspective, I do think Sol ETH will give Solana more momentum now. I think Solana will start taking over, and it's bottomed. I do think that. I think it's Solana's time now to start pumping. Yeah, good point as well, Bren. If you guys want somewhere to store your crypto safely, get yourself a Tangem. That is the best wallet to use. It's the one that I use. And I highly recommend it. So get yourself a Tangem and you can use my code at checkout. It's Archie. And you'll get 10% off, right? Don't use this code up here. They get you 8% off. Use the one that I'm giving you and you'll get 10% off. Got some new cards as well. Limited edition USA card. If you're a fan of the States, you can get that. Some Hello Kitty card. If you're into that. Proud member of your brilliant and funny Discord. Thank you, man. Yeah, it's very funny. Pump our say bags. My say average is 18 cents. Shout out to you, man. Great average. Is million okay bet? I'm still bullish on the say memes. Look, if say goes to $1 to $2 like I'm predicting it will, these beta plays on say are going to do phenomenal things. They're going to pump crazy. So I think it's a pretty, you know, logical thing to assume that the meme coins on say will do well. Do I think Mumu can hit 70 million market cap again? Yes, I do. Mumu going much higher than 70 million. Yeah, it's a bull in a bull market. Why is Mumu not higher? It doesn't make sense. Their listings are decent. They're nothing special, right? The listings aren't anything special, but it's a bull in a bull market. Out of like the memes in terms of the memetic factor, Mumu's got to be one of the best ones out there. Like, we're in a bull market. What type of animal coin are you going to buy? You're going to buy a bull. You're not going to buy a dog. You're not going to buy a cat. You're not going to buy a freaking monkey. You buy a bull in a bull market. So I don't know why people aren't buying this thing yet, but eventually the masses will probably wake up and they'll pump our bags as they always do. Kaspa to 20 cents soon. I think it will go past 20 and go to 30 on the next move. You're bullish on Say. What are your thoughts on one of its decks? Is that Dragon Swap? It'll do decent. You deserve tons more viewers. Your content is undervalued. Thank you, Jesus. Appreciate that. Yeah, share the channel, like, subscribe. All those things help me get more viewers. But I appreciate the kind words. And I agree. I should have way more viewers. You know what it is, man? People don't like the truth. It hurts. These channels that just give you 100x predictions on everything, they get more viewers. Because what it is, people don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear hard, harsh truths. You know, and you can apply this to so many things in life. I figured this out at a very, very, very young age. You know, people don't like you telling them that they probably need to improve their life a little bit. They probably need to do this. They probably need to do that. People don't like things like that. And quite often, I'm quite real with my targets. I tell people, yeah, that's only going to 5x. It's not going to do a 20x. What are you on about? These other YouTubers, you come to them and you ask them about a coin, they'll tell you that you're going to 1,000x your money and you'll be a millionaire tomorrow. And you go away really happy. And then you tune in again because you get that dopamine hit. I'm not here to give you guys dopamine hits. That's not what I'm here for. These other YouTubers, they'll give you dopamine hits telling you these coins are going to 1,000x left, right, and center. I'm not here to give you dopamine hits. I'm here to be truthful, honest, and make you money. And maybe that will give you a dopamine hit, right? But not just tell you these things are going to 1,000x. At what point will you start taking profits from Sui? I already started taking profits from Sui when I was up 6 or 7x. I already pulled profits out. When Sui was up here, I was up, I think 7x from my initial, so I'd be crazy to not take some profits out. And then look at what happened afterwards. It dumped loads. And I dropped those sell alerts once again in the VIP group. So the guys got the sell alerts on Sui. Like, it's a very good layout, this Discord, right? There's the main chat where everyone's sharing alpha and different opinions and stuff. And then there's the buy alert and the sell alert and then the announcements. And I just drop alerts. It's very simple. You get notified. And I put something out in the chart channel today saying about Bitcoin dominance, you know, just stuff like that. I put out chart alerts and Cryptex as well. My professional chartist, who's a professional trader, makes crazy money doing trading. He put out an alert for Say, giving targets, just stuff like that. You know, it's a really good all-encompassing Discord, especially if you hold some of the picks that I hold. Just makes sense to be in there because we constantly monitor the markets every day. Thanks for the super chat, Rex Ford. You started with 2K. What did you do at 10K? Did you allocate between different coins or all in one? What should I do with 10K? Yeah, good question. So as you make more money, you should be going less risky, generally speaking. Now, when I started with 2K, I was completely degen. I just bought whatever crap coin I thought was going to pump. And look, it worked. So maybe I got a bit lucky. Maybe it was skill. I don't know. I'm not here to brag about that. But I turned 2K into a lot of money at a very young age. And my strategy was to flip the memes into each other. So let's say bought Floki, made a load of money on that, flipped it into the next one, made a load of money on that, flipped it into the next one. That was kind of my strategy. And then to gradually be rotating profits into Cardano. That's what I did. Cardano was like my Sui last bull run or my Kaspa last bull run. Now I've got Sui, Say, Kaspa, Tau, those plays. But last bull run, it was all Cardano. I can't really say I held many other blue chips other than ADA or ADA. That was the only one really I was holding last bull run. And it was literally the best gainer in the market. So I made the right decision buying it when I did. And I sold it literally at the all-time high. So If I had 10K right now, I would probably put 5K towards degen players and 5K towards blue chips, such as Ondo, Sui, Kaspa, Tao, Say, those types of plays. So 5K gamble with, try and get that up to like 50K, try and gamble it a bit with memes and stuff like that. Obviously, educated gambling, not just being stupid. And then the other 5K I would put towards quality blue chips. And that way you won't lose money because worst case scenario, you blow the 5K that you're gambling with, but then the other 5K you still make like a 5x with, and you come out of the bull run with 25K. It's not the end of the world, right? You still made money. But if it goes well, you could turn that 5K that you're gambling with into 50K, 100K, 200K, and turn the other 5K into 25, and you come out with some good money. So that's kind of what I would do. I would half it, and one part would be risk on, the other part would be risk off. Can't believe people thought Powell would resign. Seriously, bro, I saw some YouTube videos today and some streams saying that Powell was gonna resign in the meeting. He was gonna just announce his resignation in the meeting. Join the VIP. It's the place to be. Everything you need is here. Shout out to Brandon Cryptex. Get on the train to get rich. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. And you're absolutely right. People need to listen to that for sure. The money people are making is insane. Let's just take a quick look at the market, see what's going on. Bitcoin 119.2. So we've climbed a little bit. Climbed up a little bit here. I mean, look at this, guys. We've used this trend line as support a few times now, which is great to see. I love a good old resistance support flip. It's always a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. So let's see if we can make a higher high. If we can get above that 119.7, that would be great. So we got a sell alert come in on the indicator I use, but maybe it'll flash another buy signal soon if we can break out a little bit. That would be good. Yeah, Ponky's undervalued for a meme for sure. What market cap do I think Fartcoin can get to? I know this sounds crazy to some people, but I think Fartcoin could maybe go, and this is one of my more bullish price targets. I think it could potentially go to Pepe's all-time high. That's not that bad, actually. That's not even crazy. That's pretty that's pretty conservative, to be honest. I thought it was going to be higher than that. Oh, because it's at a 1.5 billion market cap now. I thought it was a 1 billion. It's pumped a bit. I think it was pumping yesterday, right? Fartcoin. Yeah, I think it can 7x easily. What? I thought Pepe's market cap was higher than 11, no? Pepe only went to 11 billion? Why did I feel like it went to 16 or 17 or something like that? That's crazy. I thought it went higher than that. Is it just me, or did anyone else think Pepe went higher? So I take that back. I think it could even go higher than that. I think it could go to, let's just say 10 to 20 billion in market cap is my Fartcoin target. My thoughts on the others chart. Yeah, so we had a breakout on others that I was targeting. We had a confirmed breakout, which is great news for others. So we closed above the May high, which to me is a very bullish thing. So I do kind of expect continuation to the upside on others. But others still hasn't taken off yet. The money's still rotating into the higher caps. The money's still kind of rotating into those big caps right now. That's kind of where the money's flowing currently. The money right now is still flowing into kind of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Sol, XRP, right? That's where the money's still flowing into. The money's not really flowing into the mid caps just yet. I mean, we've had some good gains on the channel. Like, don't get me wrong, we've made some great gains on some of the mid caps. But we've just been very selective. We've just been good with the ones we've picked. The vast majority of people, they're not making money with mid caps. It's really just us. Because, like, sure, they're making some money, but they're not making 2 to 5x's like we are. Trump's meeting the Philippines president right now. Yeah, smart contracts is going to be huge for Kaspa. How do I see the FOMC meeting going? I don't think they're going to cut rates. And honestly, I think there's a chance we could. Look, I'm not going to even predict what's going to happen because it's hard to predict what the market reaction will be because Jerome Powell just says the same thing every time and the market just decides how it wants to react depending on the mood of people on the day. But I think there's definitely going to be questions that come up regarding Jerome Powell and his job. Because if you look at Polymarket currently, there's a 20% chance that Powell is out by the end of the year. 1% chance that he's out by the end of the month. So that's not going to happen, right? But there's going to be people asking for sure about his job because Trump's been criticizing the hell out of Jerome Powell now for months. And that's definitely going to come up in the conference. Regarding interest rates, I think the market is now starting to price in no rate cut in September, which was not the case previously. Let's see. Yeah, so okay, so it's basically it's 50-50. Yesterday I checked this and it was more likely that they don't cut rates. Now it's just looking like it's 50-50 on whether we get a rate cut or not. But it's so up in the air, September. There's going to be a ton of volatility around September. Mark my words. September is going to be a very volatile month. It could be bullish, it could be really bearish. But there's going to be a crazy amount of volatility heading into that December meeting. Your mic sounds a lot better this stream. Yeah. I've got the Shure SM7B, I think it is. It's the one Joe Rogan uses, but he's got some extra filter thing on it, which makes it sound even better. But yeah, the rate cuts thing, it's really up in the air for September. And that's crazy because just a few weeks ago, September seemed like it was going to be a certain cut. Seemed like it was going to be a certain cut. And now it's just up in the air. It's 50-50. But for sure, they're going to cut in the back end of the year. They're going to cut in October, maybe. They're definitely going to cut in the back end of the year. And I think they're going to start cutting very heavy in the back end of the year because I expect the labor market to weaken in the back end of the year. And then they'll be forced to cut from a point of weakness, which isn't always the best thing. You'd rather them be cutting into strength than cutting into weakness. Because quite often when they cut into weakness, it's already too late and the market just sees through the BS. I always give the analogy, right? It's like if someone got shot 10 times and then you just put a freaking band-aid over the shots, the person's still dying, you know? It's not going to make a massive difference. It's the same with the economy. If the economy is dying, if the economy is in a really weak point and you start doing rate cuts, it's just like last minute surgery, you know? It's still in a bad state. It's still in a vegetative state. It's almost dying. So, rate cuts aren't necessarily always going to help. Sometimes they do, but if it's bad enough, the rate cuts won't do anything. You're just in a full-on recession by that point. Total 3. Yeah, the thing is, though, Total 3 can be very deceiving sometimes, guys, because Total 3 includes stablecoins in it. So you're also getting a valuation of where stablecoins are. Because Total 3 is all the coins outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. So you're also getting USDT, USDC included in your Total 3 valuation. That's why I much prefer others because it doesn't include those stablecoins in it. This is a really good, pure valuation of altcoins, especially the altcoins we're invested in. Your virtuals call was insane. 100%, man. We timed the exact bottom on virtuals, as we usually do. Some people on YouTube are very dangerous. I agree. They have a lot of subs, etc., and they talk about super cycles and going into 2026, some even till 2029. So dangerous for their followers, exactly. And it's crazy. The amount of dumb advice that you get on YouTube is phenomenal. People saying coins are going to 100x. They're probably only going to do a 5x, right? People saying we're going to run into a 4, 5, 6-year bull market forever. People saying Jerome Powell is going to resign today at the freaking banking conference thing. Why would you resign at an event that is like a banking conference where you're meant to be doing a job? Why would you resign at that event? It just boggles my mind, man. Some of the claptrap that comes out of people's mouths. How low do you see Bitcoin going in the bear market? Do I see a shorter bear market? Not necessarily. There's a lot of people saying we'll have a shorter bear market. If anything, I think we could have a longer bear market because of the state of the economy. But I'm really watching this like wick down here of 49K. I know it sounds crazy, but I feel like there's a good chance we come back down to that level at some point. Usually as well, what Bitcoin does is in a bear market, it comes just below the 786 fib retracement. So let's say the top on Bitcoin is going to be at 130K. That would actually be around a 40K bear market low, 35K bear market low. So this surprises a lot of people when I say this, But the bear market bottom could be a lot lower than what people think. People think we're only going to come back down to 70K and that's going to be it. We'll probably go way lower than that. If the top was like 160K, then the 786 would be around 48K. So you probably expect a 45K bear market low. Now, this doesn't have to play out, but it has played out in the past few bear markets. Like, I'll show you one example here of it playing out perfectly to the T. If you go from the low after the 2017 bull market, the low which was down here, if you go from that low and then you go to the high, the 786 was all the way down at 17K. Where was the Bitcoin bottom, guys, in the last bear market? Where was the low? The low was at 15K. And that's my average on Bitcoin, 16K. How did I know that? Because it did the exact same thing the previous bull run as well. So I knew once I see the 786 fib get hit, that is when you start DCAing into Bitcoin. I saw that. And I started buying Bitcoin at 16K and 15K. And that's why my average on Bitcoin is like 15.9K or 16K. I've got an insane average buy on Bitcoin in the bear market because I saw what was happening with the charts, because the same thing happened in the previous bull run as well. So most likely we'll do the same again, come down to the 786 fib. And not a lot of people know that that's what happens, but it's happened a few times now, and that becomes a trend. When will the short signals start coming out? Definitely not expecting soon, but once markets are topped out, are you going to short as well and make dollars on the flip? Cheers. Absolutely, man. We'll be making money on the way down for sure. We're not just going to be making money on the way up. We're going to be making money on the way down too by shorting the market. So that's going to be great. So Trump just said that Powell has to be out in 8 months, apparently. Stablecoin supply on ETH surpasses $140 billion. That's pretty good. Trump thinking about no tax on capital gains. Can you imagine? Imagine if Trump literally did an exemption on tax for crypto. I don't think it will happen, but imagine if he did. Are there still odds on that? Is there literally a betting market for that exact thing? Like, can you bet on the tax exemption on Polymarket? Crypto capital gains. Oh, they've still got one. So he's given 11% chance, or Polymarket's given an 11% chance of an elimination on capital gains on crypto this year. Yeah, it's not going to happen. But it would be crazy if it did. I remember at one point this was really high, right? People thought this was like a 50-50 thing. A lot of people are going to get wrecked this cycle over these crazy YouTubers with price predictions and no actual validity behind their answers. Exactly. They just pull the numbers out of their backside. You know, they've got no thesis. They've got no reasoning for it. They haven't looked at charts. They just think of a number that sounds good. Oh, Bitcoin, $1 million. Oh, it sounds great. There you go. That's my price prediction. I actually look at the charts and give a well-rounded, comprehensive thesis on where I see things going. 49K would be nice. Yeah, that'd be a good buy in the bear market for sure. You're awesome. I kind of messed up and didn't trade my Kaspa at 4x for Sui when you called it. Next time I won't mess up. Keep it up. I appreciate these videos, Archie. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of people faded my flip. I flipped a ton of my Kaspa into Sui. A lot of people faded that move, and it actually made me and my VIPs a ton of money. And now if we want, when Kaspa breaks above this resistance, we can actually buy back into Kaspa with way more money than we had. And like I said, if Kaspa closes above this trend line on the week, I would consider a trade actually on Kaspa. I would consider a trade, opening a bit of a trade. Yeah, the bear market usually lasts a year. Exactly. Thoughts on Arrow's chart? So Arrow currently is trying to get above the resistance that is around 96, 95 cents, which it rejected at actually. You can see here, right? It rejected the first time. When it had the first crash, it rejected, then it came back down, and then it went up. So that's the level it's trying to get above right now. And if we take a look at the fibs, see if that shows anything. Now, there's no fib level that it's rejecting at. It's just rejecting at a level that was previously resistance. And you can see we rejected here as well. So there's a bit of resistance on Arrow around that 9.5 level. When you look at the macro chart and you zoom out, you can see we've hit that now a few times and rejected. So once we break this, which is literally where we're at currently, it's game on, guys. Arrow is going to be in price discovery, and we're going to be making a freaking crap ton of money. We're all going to be getting rich. Because if you've been following this channel, your average on Arrow should be a lot lower than where we are right now. You should be up maybe 2 extra money. Or more. Powell's not going anywhere. Yeah, he'll probably just resign when his term comes to an end. But people always like to get clicks on YouTube, right? They'll say, oh, Powell's resigning today. Watch my video. Just a load of hogwash. Maybe Kaspa does a 5x. Yeah, that's realistic. I used to think it would do more, but the chart just kind of disappointed constantly. Now, you could say on the reverse, usually when you go sideways for a very long period of time, when you have loads of consolidation, when you eventually break out, there's been so much sideline capital that the pump is way more explosive. That's a fair argument. We've seen that before. XRP is a prime example. It did a crazy pump in a short period of time. So I'm not saying it's impossible for Kaspa to pump straight to 70 cents and do a 7x. It could do that. Kaspa could do a 7x in a short period of time. But it's once you start going above $1, that's when I start to get a bit, the alarm bells start to ring when someone starts saying, oh, we're going to $5, $2, $7, $10, $20, $30, $40. I've heard as high as $50 Kaspa this bull run. Some absolutely asinine targets that are not backed by the charts at all. Yeah, go watch the Kaspa video if you haven't already as well. Go watch that. Smash the likes on it if you're a fan of Kaspa. What kind of Kaspa trade were you thinking? Just entering a long trade, but I wouldn't use much leverage, if any. I'm not a huge fan of leverage. But I would consider getting into like a bit of a short-term trade where I get in here. Let's say we break. Let's say my entry is 11 cents or 12 cents at a confirmation of a breakout. Put my stop loss back where the trend line is. So I'd have my stop loss around like 11 cents. And then take some profits at 15 cents, take some profits at 20 cents, and then have the rest out at 30. That would be a potential trade setup that I would consider with Kaspa. I'm not saying I'm going to do it. It's just a potential scenario. Thoughts on Tau? Very, very bullish. Tau's going to do great. MPC price targets, I think you could 10 to 20x maybe. It's a dark horse play for sure, as Brent said. Last cycle, there was no YouTuber who talked about the 4-year cycle and said the top would be in November. Yeah, and now everyone's saying it. So it almost seems like it's too obvious. When every YouTuber's saying something, you want to do the opposite. When all the YouTubers are saying something, it's usually a sign to be contrarian and do the exact opposite of what they're all saying. So that does concern me a little bit with the cyclical side. Like, it's all well and good saying, yeah, the 4-year cycle, you know, it's a great thing. It's going to play out again. It could. You know, it's reasonable to assume that it will play out again, but you can't say that it's a certainty like some YouTubers are. Crypto is known for giving us upsets. Crypto is known for getting people wrecked. You know, you look at the Max Payne scenario. What's the Max Payne scenario? The Max Payne scenario is that we probably top out in September. Everyone thinks we're going to 200K in Q4. And then we top out August or September. We top out earlier than anticipated. That is the Max Payne scenario. And that's a scenario which I'm almost treating like a base case. Everyone's expecting October, November, December. What if we top out before then? People will be absolutely devastated. There'll be so many people wrecked. It'll be crazy. And then the bear market begins. Can you imagine? Still good to accumulate, say, an arrow on this dip. Yeah, if you're not happy with your bags and you still want more, then that's fine. But I'm happy with my bags and I don't want to increase my averages. So I'm not buying them. But if you want to, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Look, MPC, it could do a 10 to 20x or it could just go and do a 5x. Either way, we'll take profits and flip it into the next meme once it pumps. You know, it's hard to give these exact price predictions on memes. It's better to just take it level by level and look at the charts. One thing I would say, though, is everyone should study the 4-year cycle because even if it doesn't play out, it's still the baseline for everything that Bitcoin's ever done in its history based off the halving. Now, there's a few reasons why I'm a little bit skeptical of the 4-year cycle this time. First reason is the validity of the halving. The argument with the 4-year cycle is that the Bitcoin halving plays a huge degree of significance when it comes to a supply shock. Now, mathematically, that is no longer the case. Okay. This will, there we go. So, back in 2009, 50 Bitcoins were the reward. You can see how much it's diminishing over time. So the thing is, every halving, it's diminishing, which means the amount of supply coming out for Bitcoin is diminishing, which essentially means the supply shock is no longer as significant because there's only a small percentage of the supply still to come out. The halving was much more significant back when Bitcoin only had a 30% circulating supply. But now, Bitcoin's circulating supply, which is the coins currently in circulation, you know, it's almost 100%. So there's 19.89 million tokens in circulation for Bitcoin, and the max supply on Bitcoin is 21 million. So basically all the Bitcoins are already in circulation right now, which means the halving event's actual mathematical effect on the supply shock is not as significant as it used to be by any means. So this led to the halving event actually being a sell the news, guys. And I think going forward, it's possible the halving event could continue to be a sell the news because everyone buys in anticipation of the halving, thinking this is going to be massive. There's going to be a supply shock. Everything's going to pump. Get ready. And then what happens is that basically, there is no supply shock. It doesn't really make a difference. So that's one reason why I'm a bit skeptical of the 4-year cycle significance, is because the halving bears little significance now. The other reason why I'm a little bit skeptical of it is because Bitcoin hugely surpassed anticipations, or expectations rather, in March 2024. And this was around the time of the halving, actually, because of the ETFs. We went all the way up to 74K. In a halving year, we surpassed all-time high. That's the first time Bitcoin surpassed all-time highs before the halving. We haven't surpassed all-time highs before the halving before. This was the first time. So we were already front-running the cycle. We were already ahead of schedule, essentially. Now, what people do is they counter-argue that, and they say, look, we went sideways for almost a year to nullify it, to cancel it out. And that is also a fair critique, right? So you got to give them some credit. That is a fair argument. But there's just some cracks. A crack is still a crack, nevertheless. It's still a crack in the cycle. It's still a deviation from the cyclical norm, from normality. It's still a deviation, which still is a little bit of a point of concern for me. Could we top out in November or October? For sure, we could. I'm not saying it's impossible by any means. I'm just saying I have my skepticisms about it. Over 100 likes. Well, let's try and get it a lot higher, because there's across YouTube and X, there's 435 live viewers across YouTube and X. So if everyone could go over to YouTube and hit a like, that would be hugely, hugely appreciated. Does help out a ton. VIP, well worth it. I wish I had it 6 months sooner. I wouldn't have got greedy and would have taken over 6 figures in profit to have to play right now. Yeah, well said, man. Not many groups out there took any profits, but we were taking big profits back in January time. But welcome to the VIP anyway, and it's great that you're here. It's never too late. I just subbed. Wow, great. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for subscribing. So Bitcoin, see what's going on here. $119.3. Targeting this that level where we rejected at. See if we can push past there. It'd be bullish if we could. Thoughts on Pengu? Thoughts on Mavia? Pengu's decent, but I wouldn't buy it just because of the market cap. And Mavia, I think, is a good gamble play. But what's happened to Pengu? I haven't checked it in a while. Yeah, everyone was getting so bullish on this lately. Still hasn't seen a correction yet. RSI is extremely high. This thing will pull back at some point, just like everything does. $2.6 billion. It's trying to get past its all-time high, right? The all-time high for Pudgy Penguin is 0.057. We're currently at 0.042. So we're still a bit below the all-time high. That's going to be potential resistance to be aware of. That all-time high. So I'd be looking out for a potential double top rejection. But if we surpass that, then it's extremely bullish, right? I see you're pushing for the big 100K plaque. Yeah, hopefully we get a 100K subs this year. That would be amazing. The channel growth did kind of stagnate out a little bit during the last year. The channel was really growing crazy last year. But then this year it kind of stagnated a bit, but we're starting to see a bit more growth again. I think retail came into crypto and then they all left, and now they're starting to come back. So I am noticing a bit of an uptick in the viewers lately. Not a huge uptick, but just a bit of an uptick. Say memes taking a break. Yeah, they're taking a little bit of a break. Nothing too concerning though. Let's take a quick look at Say. So this is the thing for Say. It's this trend line. There's so many trend lines that are just waiting for a breakout right now. Waiting for that major breakout. Trust me, when Say breaks above this trend line, it is going to be the most phenomenal pump you've ever seen for a coin. It's going to be absolutely amazing when that happens. But we're just waiting for a break, and that's kind of why some of the Say meme coins are stalling out a little bit. Just waiting for a break, that's all. Yeah, no YouTubers put out sell alerts. That's true. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some do, but all the ones I've seen, they don't do that. What about Beam and Superverse? Beam's a good gaming play, but gaming just hasn't moved this bull run, you know? It's just been a very lackluster narrative. And you can tell the strength of a coin because the good quality coins, they already surpassed their May highs by now. Beam is still below its May high. So if gaming comes back around, you want to jump in on Beam for sure, but I just don't see it garnering much attention until gaming comes back around. And the same goes for Superverse. Ben, thanks for the donation. What two coins do you think will do an easy 5x? So nothing's easy in crypto, but which ones do I think have the highest chance of a 5x? I would say Sui. Actually, no, maybe Sui only does like a 4x. You know, it's possible. So I would say Aerodrome, Say, and Ondo. I think all have a very strong chance of doing a 5x. I think Kaspa will, and I think Sui will, but there's just a chance they do a little bit less. Because 30 cents is going to be a big level for Kaspa, which is a 3x from here. And then Sui, $10 is going to be a big level, which is like a 2 point something x, 2.5, something like that. So if you're asking me what's going to have a really high chance of hitting a 5x, I would say Aerodrome, Ondo, and Say. They would be the picks I would go for a 5x. Kaspa should 5x, but it's just not a given. 5x is 50 cents. It seems reasonable that it would go there. Just depends how long it takes for it to break this trend line. Every time it's come in contact with it, it's rejected. 2017, 2021, and 2025. Just one signal that started an alt season. Bitcoin dominance, MACD, bearish cross. Interesting. So there's going to be a MACD bearish cross on Bitcoin dominance. That's interesting. The thing is with dominance, it's also at a key level right now. It's at a really key level, which is the golden pocket, right? So if we can fall below this, it's gonna be game on for the altcoins. We're gonna literally be an alt season. If we can fall below the golden pocket, it's gonna be amazing. But that's just a really key thing that we do is keep dropping. Yeah, everything's at resistance right now. We need a break. We need a breakout. We just need one little event, one little catalyst, and we'll be in a full scale alt season. Everything will send it. Still, yeah, Say still has a 5x at least, I think. My target on Say is 5. My target on Say is between $1 to $2. So 5x is for sure reasonable. Yeah, Solana's been killing it. Let's check Sol. Solana looks great on the weekly. Solana just keeps on pumping. I mean, look at how many green candles it's had on the 4-hour. Stalling out a little bit, but Solana's been looking great. Bitcoin 119.3, dominance, golden pocket. And not a great deal's happening currently. Let's just see top 100 if anything's happening. What's the biggest gainer? Pudgy Penguin, Flare, Pi, Story, Quant, biggest loser. Pump Fun Coin, second biggest loser on the day. Why would you buy that thing? It's so scammy. I mean, it's just so risky. Like, what even is the utility of the coin? Pump Fun Coin? That's going to be a beautiful short in the bear market, I can assure you. Because that thing's on Coinbase and Crypto.com, so all the normies will probably pile into it, and then they're all going to dump it when the bull market tops out. So that's one that I've got on my short list for shorting. The short list of shorts. Pump funds on the short list. Literally. Will Bitcoin hit 180? I doubt it. I doubt it this bull run. Retail are slowly coming back. And also, this is an institutional ran bull run. So I don't necessarily fully agree that alt season won't happen unless we get the same influx as last bull run. We don't need the same influx. We just need a bit of retail and we need more institutional interest. And the institutions are coming in and they are buying. So I don't necessarily fully agree with that. But anyway, guys, appreciate you all being here today. Make sure you get over on the VIP group. I'm going to be in the voice chat over there. So highly recommend you join if you want to talk to me on voice chats, if you want to see my real-time buy and sell alerts, and if you want to join a group which literally never ever sleeps. It's active 24/7, every second of the day. There's people in there talking about the markets. You get access to a professional trader who can give you TA requests on demand. So if you've got a coin you want the chart, being reviewed, he will give you a review on demand. And yeah, highly, highly recommend you join. Like I said, if you don't like it, you can always cancel. But it's very, very rare that people cancel. So check it out. Start winning in this market. Give yourself that competitive advantage. You know, everything I do in this group is real. I don't do any paid chills, no paid promotions. I only talk about coins I like, and the success rate is absolutely phenomenal. So if you want to join a no BS group, no messing around, just making money, and surround yourself with winners, then hit the link in the description, get on the VIP, and I'll look forward to seeing you over there and talking to you. Thank you guys for watching the video. Remember, you can still book a free call with my right-hand man. You can do that link down below. He's happy to get on a call with you and help you out with your portfolio. Just around a 10-minute call, but it will still benefit you a lot and give you some clarity. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.